Blessings, everybody. I hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. I'm Dane, host of the channel. As music fans, we all love our album art, don't we? Whether we're talking about vinyl or the CD, especially vinyl because it's bigger. We get a bigger presentation of the artwork. Roger Dean comes to mind, right? So many wonderful album covers out there. And yet, as I've said many times, listening to music is an event, right? You put the record on the turntable, or you put the CD or the cassette, right? And if you have physical media, it's so much more of an event because, as I said, you plant yourself, you get the liner notes out, you look at the album art, what seems to be forever, right? You just absorb it all, you take it all in. It's so wonderful. And sometimes the album art will give us an idea of what the music is on the actual recording, right? And sometimes we're misled because the album art can be deceiving, just like never judge a book by its cover, never judge a vinyl record or CD or cassette by its cover as well. So where am I going with this? Well, as lovely as album art is, because like liner notes, right? Like the booklet you may get and all the wonderful things a poster comes in with the box set, whatever it may be, right? There's a wonderful context. But in the context of the liner notes and the album art and the poster, as I've been saying for a while now, yes, this is another video on it's the music that matters most, isn't it? And I can tell you, I'm not saying album art is not important. I love me some album art. Love it. Got some more over here, right? Okay, and some photographs on the inside, which is art as well. But I want to present to you some examples of some horrible album art and some wonderful album art. Horrible album art and some wonderful album art, and then some misleading album art to make my point. So let's start with some good album art, right? Let's start with, this is probably one, I think I did a video. I think this was my favorite. It's been a while. This is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, album covers of all time. Others that come to mind are Set of Wings of Destiny from Judas Priest, Stormbringer from Deep Purple, Kiss Alive, Rock and Roll Over, Had the Sticker, twice because a friend gave it to mine, and I regret not putting it in a poster frame or something the second time around because I pulled them out one day and they were dry rot. I had to throw them out. And then the first one I mistakenly put on the door, the wooden door as a child, because I got this at the age of 9 and put on the door. You know, you can't take it off because you paint and all that. So anyway, so this is a wonderful example of album art. Deep Purple's in rock. List goes on and on, right? Here's a beauty as well. My favorite Nazareth album. Expect No Mercy. Franz Rosetta, right? Iconic. Okay, wonderful, wonderful album. Great album art as well. Frazetta is a genius. Okay. Roger Dean is to Yes what Frazetta is to Nazareth, and of course Molly Hatchet. Molly Hatchet especially. And then finally, the Freudian cover aside in the middle. This is quite cool as well. And in the back, the snake has escaped. Look out, everybody. Okay, so we've established that album art is part of the context, and it's so amazing. Now, here's an example of an album cover I hated for the longest time, and eventually I became desensitized to it through age, owning it for so long. I've had this on cassette, vinyl, maybe 8-track. Talking about Abominog by Uriah Heep. This is a twofer, as you can see, but it's got mostly the Abominog face here and then the head first at the bottom from a box set. Buying this, I thought Uriah Heep were going into heavy metal waters. You have the t-shirt that accompanied this tour with this on the cover, this creature on the cover, and then on the back of the shirt was the tour dates with claw marks going down the back. Really cool. So I thought this was Heep going into heavier waters. No, it sounds like AOR, rock, aka Foreigner, and I do like it, but it's not heavy metal, so I was disappointed. But I've come to love this album. Now let me show you some bad album art, and then I'm gonna make my point. This is a twofer, but in the upper right hand corner you can see Fistful of Metal. We get the visual pun, right? Horrible album cover from Anthrax. Some will find it cool. I just never cared for it. Well, when I was a teenager, I liked it, but I guess it's more of that, right? It's not a very good drawing of what I think they're trying to achieve. This next one, probably Derek Riggs' worst offering for an Iron Maiden album. Back is not very is not much better. However, if you have the original vinyl, I can take this out here. This homage to all the previous albums with the melting ice. This is really cool. I like this. This would have been, this would have been much better. Anyway, so, and then where am I going with this? Well, you're about to find out. You can get a hint of what I mean because I love this album. It's not their best, but I do love this album. I'm quite fond of this album, even though it's not Joey Belladonna, who I think was always the right fit for this band vocally. I do like some Neil Turbin, though. So you may have guessed it. This is one of the most unassuming, ugliest album covers of all time, talking about Led Zeppelin 4, with the man holding the bundle of sticks inside a home. And because this is not the vinyl record, you don't see the 2-disc version, you don't see that this is a decrepit house, and in the background is the high-rise apartment buildings that, kind of very similar to Farewell to Kings. Technology is advancing, civilization is advancing, agricultural, Middle Ages is in the decline, that kind of thing. So, there's no name on here either. We all know this is iconic. It's Led Zeppelin 4 or Four Symbols or the Unnamed album. And if it's an unnamed album, maybe there's untitled, right? We shouldn't say anything. We should just present it. This is this, right? We got to call it something, right? So, as much as we love album art, we know that the music is what matters the most. Again, album art's great. This is the epitome of the notion that it really doesn't matter. As much as we love that album art, it really doesn't matter, does it? Well, for marketing purposes, right? As kids, we're going to be attracted to things like this. We're going to be attracted to things like this. So from a marketing perspective and attracting young kids, right? Like your advertisements, right? It is important. But, you've heard me say it again, it's the music that matters most. So, I've mentioned before, Stephen King once said on the inside cover of Four Seasons, the collection of 4 short stories that represent a season, it is the tale, not he who tells it, or she who tells it. In a similar vein, it is not the musicians that matter, but the music itself, if we apply it from books to music. And in a similar manner, same thing. Again, we love our album art. We love to make it part of the context. But this is not why, if this was the most important thing, then we just look at this and forget about, the CD, right? Or the music or the vinyl. There are times, and I'm guilty of this. It's not really guilty. It's great. We pull an album out and we just look at it for a little while. And we don't listen to the music necessarily. It's art. The art does matter. But more importantly, the music is, right? I'm being repetitive on purpose to emphasize my point. I am being Allen Iverson today, right? I'm not saying practice over and over, but I'm saying it's the music that matters so much. Again, we love the artwork, not necessarily here. And why is this, to me, my opinion only, perhaps, well, some people are going to agree. But what I'm trying to say is that this is the epitome of how and why the music is most important. Okay? Now, you may be attracted. You may find this attractive. I don't. Never have. I remember passing this up so many times before I knew who Led Zeppelin was. And going, ugh. Because we make a connection erroneously that if it looks good, then the music must be good, right? There are a lot of great album artwork out there, and the music is just terrible or abysmal or subpar or mediocre. But this, okay? So back to Stephen King's quote. If you recall, Stephen King published 4 novels with a pen name to see if people would still buy it. Perhaps why Led Zeppelin did this. Would people, and eventually that experiment is negated because eventually word of mouth tells us this is Led Zeppelin. But at first, no one knew what this was unless they saw it in the Led Zeppelin section, right? So that's the problem too. Why perhaps that failed as an experiment. I don't know the research, but I'd like to see how many albums sold alone based on, it was on an end cap without a label, Led Zeppelin, that kind of thing, because it's in the section, right, as I said. But anyway, Led Zeppelin wanted to see perhaps could they sell their 4th album without their name on it, right? Because we know of the concept of band as brand, right? Picasso in his old age, Wordsworth in his old age, put out some horrible painting, put out some horrible poetry, and yet people are selling it because of the name. So like Stephen King, Led Zeppelin trying to see, can they sell an album without the name in place, right? It would have been cooler if music stores had put them in a separate section and not in the Led Zeppelin section to see if that experiment would have worked, or how much it would have worked, that kind of thing. And you've had wonderful album art in here. So essentially what I'm saying, we love our album art, but it's the music that matters. Case in point, the majesty, for some of us, the magnum opus that is, my favorite's Physical Graffiti, my second favorite in my hands right here. Regardless, what I'm saying to you is this is a great example. For many of us, the best example. For some of us, one of the best examples. Let me know if you think there are other examples where, man, the album cover is just shite. But boy, the music is just dynamite. So, in conclusion, we can have some wonderful album art. But at the end of the day, I know it's a cliche trite phrase, okay? This is wonderful to show off if we like the art, right? Great to show off. We can put it on our wall. Wall. But why do we buy the music in the first place? Because we want these 2 beautiful things, our ears, to soak it all in. Thanks for watching. I know this is kind of a silly episode and stating Captain Obvious kind of thing, but I thought it was kind of fun to point out that we have some wonderful album artwork there. We have some crappy artwork out there, and we have some deceiving album artwork out there, but it's about listening, isn't it? It's about taking that in. This is some wonderful context stuff, right? When we plan ourselves and sit down and absorb everything. But the most important component of the event, that is, with all the context, the art and the liner notes, is the sonic part, right? Thanks for watching. Take care now. Bye.